In today's video, I will show you how to secure your fenders and fender flares after trimming for either cosmetic looks or to fit larger tires. So let's dive right in. Welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel, everybody. If this is your first time swinging by and you love everything related to Tacomas, be sure to subscribe now and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. Now, this video is another addition to my playlist showing you everything you need to do to fit 35s on your Tacoma, which is certainly tons of fun and tons of work, but worth it in the end. If you want to check out that playlist and all those other videos, use the tab right above. Okay guys, so this video is going to be a little weird because everything I'm going to be going over today was supposed to originally be included with the video I just uploaded showing you how to trim your fenders, like I mentioned, either just for looks or for stuffing larger tires, specifically 35s up in the fender. I just uploaded that video a few days ago. It is linked right up here, so check that out, of course. However, when I was editing that video, it was already over 20 minutes long, so I didn't want to add another 5 to 10 minutes to it and maybe, I don't know, risk losing views just because you know how longer videos are. Usually, most people probably aren't going to watch the whole thing unless they're actually getting ready to do whatever the subject of the video is. So in the end, I decided to split it. And it'll probably be more useful anyway, because if you have already trimmed your fenders and want to secure them, this will be a good video for you. Or if you have not trimmed them yet and want to learn how to trim them and also secure them afterwards so they're not flopping around, you can check out both videos. Everybody wins in the long run. Okay, so after I'm done talking in just a little bit, I'm going to include a couple video clips I recorded for the fender trimming video, just to show you like removing certain pieces that I will be using later in the video. All that stuff's already recorded. It's not so much an issue in the front with the actual metal fender because that doesn't shake around too much, but in the back, and I'll put a video clip on the screen right now, you can see it's definitely a little loose. I mean, I don't know if this would drive you crazy if you're driving down on the road. You can see how wobbly it was without adding any of the additional support. So I'll show you how to fix all that. Like I mentioned, specifically in the back is where the big issue is. However, you will lose a ton of attachment points for the factory fender flares also if you want to run those. Here is actually the front fender flare that I cut out, and you can see as with regards to attaching the fender flare to the fender, you will lose 1, 2, 3, 4 attachment points that was holding this plastic to the metal underneath. You of course still have all the fender flare clips up there. However, at highway speeds, I'm not sure if that would be enough to hold this on, or at the bare minimum, just keep it from vibrating and like driving you crazy. So we will address that. And in the back, it's the same thing, only you actually even have more attachment points. So as we're going down, this is the rear fender flare that I cut off. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. And again, same issue. It might hold, it might not. It'll probably drive you crazy either way, so let's get these tightened up. I will be reusing these support brackets. There's one right here in the front of the rear fender and the other one right here towards the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. Yeah, it will make the fender like shake a little bit more when I'm cutting it, but since where they currently attach is right in the line of where I'm gonna cut, I don't want the blade on my jigsaw to hit that. And I'll be reusing these. I'll show you how to make them work. So just a few 10 mil bolts for each one and get those out of the way. All right, almost got those support brackets off. Some of the bolts snapped, some didn't. You can see right here, no biggie. I'll just be replacing all this anyway with stainless steel hardware, so don't worry if you break some of the bolts off because they're pretty much exposed to like salt and stuff if you live in one of the northern states. Just wanted to show you this second bolt right here that holds this front support bracket on. The neck of where your gas goes into the gas tank is directly in the way. But if you loosen it off of this bracket right here, which is just a 12 mil bolt, it gives you a little play in there to get like a stubby ratchet or socket in there. It's still a pain in the ass, but just take your time and you'll get it. Obviously don't put too much pressure on the fuel neck so you risk breaking that. All right guys, so here is the rear factory support piece. Went ahead and put some flat black paint on it just to clean it up a little bit. Now, since I only cut just a little bit out of the actual metal of the fender, you can see I can still reuse both of the bottom 2 holes, and of course it'll attach the same up here. Instead of using the old hardware, I just grabbed some stainless steel bolts, nylocks, and washers from Ace Hardware. Can't remember the exact size. I want to say it's M6 by 1 that'll go through there, but if you have the old hardware, you could reuse that if you want to. I'm just cleaning this up a little bit, so Gonna go ahead and reattach this, get that tightened up, and that will greatly secure this, which you can see is flopping around just a little bit. And there is the back one all buttoned up. Like I said, got the stainless steel hardware up top. I decided to just go ahead and reuse the hardware that came with it for the bottom since they are black. Since I was going to have to paint those anyway, and I didn't damage any of these pulling them out. So it shook a lot before. Now you can see, yeah, it shakes a little bit, but way better than before. So definitely recommend reusing the supports if you didn't cut out enough down here so you couldn't no longer use those holes. But of course you could always fab up some kind of bar using the 2 holes here down, maybe just a little further back, like with an L bracket to make that tight. And of course, you know, I could like drill a hole right here and put another support up here, but not going to worry about that right now because, spoiler alert, I have a new bumper coming and I will have to pretty much cut all this out anyway. So I'll deal with relocating those brackets when the time comes. For the front bracket, it requires a little bit more patience before, and again, the fuel filler neck there is in the way. It attached like that. You can see right there on this side of your, I guess, the back of the bed, and then of course down on the bottom. What I'm gonna do is flip this so it attaches to the back of this wall. So right back in here between this space. So it'll be attached like that with the 2 bolts right there, and then I'll mark where the hole or 2 down here is sitting through the metal of the fender, drill a hole, and just attach that with a bolt, washer, and nylock, and it should be good to go. And to make this easier on myself, I just have 1 bolt. They just thread through from this side. There's a lot more room doing it this way, and hopefully if the camera's gonna focus in between there. I know it's gonna be hard to see, but I just looped it around, put a washer and nylock on it just to hold it into place. Because as you can see down here, I need to line this up where it's going to hit the fender, and it is obviously overhanging a little bit, so I'm going to remove this and pretty much just lop off about half of the metal overhanging here with my angle grinder, and then drill a hole right here through the metal, through the fender, attach a bolt there. Okay guys, and here is that front brace fully attached. Instead of drilling a hole down here I was getting ready to do, I just went ahead and used the pre-existing hole where one of the plastic clips was holding the fender flare down here with this bolt right here. Now I do need to remove the bottom one right here, and then the bottom 2 back here, so I can, when I pop the actual fender flare on in just a second, I'm going to get those holes to line up and maybe drill another hole just to attach the bottom of the fender flare down here to the actual metal fender to make sure that's nice and secure. And one last shot of the back. Like I said, I removed that bolt, popped the plastic fender flare back on, and then just lined up the hole down here and attached that to the metal so the front is secure. And for the back, it's pretty much the same thing. It just depends on how much you cut out, like if you have to drill any holes, but even if you have to go through the metal, it's very thin, very easy. Just take your time and you will get it. I have 2 holes back here securing mine. 1 bolt right here, and the second one is actually recessed right here. So this whole thing, nice and secure now. And now move to the front. And there's the front fender flare attached. I will add 1 secure point attaching the front of the fender flare to the fender in there. And then 1 down here for the bottom I'll start with. Just have a longer stainless steel bolt. I'm just going to drill a hole about probably as close to the bottom down here as possible so you don't really see it. Probably about right here where my finger's pointing, straight through and then up into the metal of the fender, and put a washer and nylock on that to secure this point. There is the rear fender flare bolt. Now this doesn't have to be super strong, just strong enough to hold the plastic fender flare onto the metal fender, so just have 1 nylock on it. It's pretty much right here against this, I guess, part of the firewall, so definitely make sure your bolt's not long enough to actually dig into that. But again, doesn't have to be too strong, and when I'm all finished, I guess I'll throw some black touch-up paint on that just to get it to blend in just a little bit. Alright guys, to get the front of this attached, I've got some 1-inch aluminum bar. I'm just going to cut a small strip. You see I already marked it right there. It is going to overlap under here. There is a thin piece of sheet metal beginning there, just coming straight out, and then overlap onto the plastic of the fender flare. Again, this doesn't have to be super strong, it's just holding plastic to metal, not structural, anything like that. And then once I get that cut, I'll just mark 2 holes and drill 1 going through the plastic and then the other going through the bottom of the sheet metal right here, perfectly flat surface, and then just get that attached with some more stainless steel hardware, and of course paint everything black so it blends in a little bit, and that's it. And here's that front bracket fully bolted in. Now I did flirt around with like the idea of painting these black, but I mean, even if you're standing back a little bit, you can't really see it, and there's other like silver hardware anyway. So I'm just gonna leave that as is. If you don't feel like drilling holes through the metal or the plastic here, you can do something else using like some strong double-sided Velcro like you can get at Home Depot. Actually did that on this side. I'll show you. I have a bolt right here, but I have this one more forward compared to the other one, and where I had drilled a hole up here in the actual fender flare, there wasn't enough room to actually get any tools back there to tighten that down, so there's just a piece of Velcro holding this on. It is more than secure at highway speed, so it should be fine. So I would imagine you could probably just use that if you wanted to make it a little easier. All right, guys, that will do it for this video. Go ahead and comment below. Let me know if you plan on doing this yourself, if you, of course, are going to be cutting your fenders for larger tires, or just because you like the way it looks. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching this video. If you want to help the channel grow even more, share it with your friends on social media. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.